Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 4, Book 53, number 370. Narrated by Abu Qatada. We set out in the company of Allah's Apostle on the day of the Battle of Hunain. When we faced the enemy, the Muslims retreated and I saw a pagan throwing himself over a Muslim. I turned around and came upon him from behind and hit him on the shoulder with the sword. He, i.e. the pagan, came towards me and seized me so violently that I felt as if it were death itself. But death overtook him and he released me. I followed Umar bin al-Khattab and asked him, "What is wrong with the people fleeing?" He replied, "This is the will of Allah." After the people returned, the Prophet sat and said, "Anyone who has killed an enemy and has a proof of that, will possess his spoils." I got up and said, "Who will be a witness for me?" and then sat down. The Prophet again said, "Anyone who has killed an enemy and has proof of that, will possess his spoils." I, again, got up and said, "Who will be a witness for me?" and sat down. Then the Prophet said the same for the third time. I again got up, and Allah's Apostle said, "O Abu Qatada, what is your story?" Then I narrated the whole story to him. A man got up and said, "O Allah's Apostle, he is speaking the truth, and the spoils of the killed man are with me. So please compensate him on my behalf." On that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, "No, by Allah, he, i.e. Allah's Apostle, will not agree to give you the spoils gained by one of Allah's lions who fights on the behalf of Allah and his Apostle." The Prophet said, "Abu Bakr has spoken the truth." So, Allah's Apostle gave the spoils to me. I sold that armor, i.e. the spoils, and with its price I bought a garden at Bani Salima, and this was my first property which I gained after my conversion to Islam. Volume 4, Book 53, number 371. Narrated by Urwa bin Azed Zubair. Hakim bin Hizam said, "I asked Allah's Apostle for something, and he gave me. I asked him again, and he gave me, and said to me, 'O Hakim, this wealth is like green sweet, i.e. fruit, and if one takes it without greed, then one is blessed in it, and if one takes it with greediness, then one is not blessed in it, and will be like the one who eats without satisfaction. And an upper, i.e. giving, hand is better than a lower, i.e. taking, hand.' I said, 'O Allah's Apostle, by him who has sent you with the truth, I will not ask anyone for anything after you till I leave this world.' So, when Abu Bakr during his caliphate, called Hakim to give him some money, Hakim refused to accept anything from him. Once, Umar called him, during his caliphate, in order to give him something, but Hakim refused to accept it, whereupon, Umar said, 'O Muslims, I give him, i.e. Hakim, his right which Allah has assigned to him, from this booty, but he refuses to take it.' So Hakim never took anything from anybody after the Prophet till he died. Volume 4, Book 53, number 372. Narrated by Nafi. Umar bin al-Khattab said, "O Allah's Apostle, I vowed to observe itikaf for one day during the pre-Islamic period. The Prophet ordered him to fulfill his vow. Umar gained 2 lady captives from the war prisoners of Hunain and he left them in some of the houses at Mecca. When Allah's Apostle freed the captives of Hunain without ransom, they came out walking in the streets. Umar said to his son, 'O Abdullah, see what is the matter.' Abdullah replied, 'Allah's Apostle has freed the captives without ransom.' He said to him, 'Go and set free those 2 slave girls.' Nafi added smiley face. Allah's Apostle did not perform the Umrah from Al-Jirana, and if he had performed the Umrah, it would not have been hidden from Abdullah. Volume 4, Book 53, number 373. Narrated by Amr bin Taqlib. Allah's apostle gave gifts to some people to the exclusion of some others. The latter seemed to be displeased by that. The Prophet said, I give to some people, lest they should deviate from true faith or lose patience, while I refer other people to the goodness and contentment which Allah has put in their hearts, and Amr bin Taqlib is amongst them. Amr bin Taqlib said, the statement of Allah's apostle is dearer to me than red camels. Narrated Al-Hasan. Amr bin Taqlib told us that Allah's apostle got some property or some war prisoners and he distributed them in the above way, i.e. giving to some people to the exclusion of others. Volume 4, Book 53, number 374. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet said, I give to Quraysh people in order to let them adhere to Islam, for they are near to their life of ignorance, i.e. they have newly embraced Islam and it is still not strong in their hearts. Volume 4, Book 53, number 375. Narrated by Anas bin Malik. When Allah favored his apostle with the properties of Hawazin tribe as booty, he started giving to some quarries men even up to 100 camels each, whereupon some Ansari men said about Allah's apostle, may Allah forgive his apostle. He is giving to men of Quraysh and leaves us, in spite of the fact that our swords are still dropping blood of the infidels. When Allah's apostle was informed of what they had said, he called the Ansar and gathered them in a leather tent and did not call anybody else along with them. When they gathered, Allah's apostle came to them and said, what is the statement which I have been informed, and that which you have said? The learned ones among them replied, O Allah's apostle, the wise ones amongst us did not say anything, but the youngsters amongst us said, may Allah forgive his apostle. He gives the Quraysh and leaves the Ansar, in spite of the fact that our swords are still dribbling, wet, with the blood of the infidels. Allah's apostle replied, I give to such people as are still close to the period of infidelity, i.e. they have recently embraced Islam and faith is still weak in their hearts. Won't you be pleased to see people go with fortune, while you return with Allah's apostle to your houses? By Allah, what you will return with, is better than what they are returning with. The Ansar replied, yes, O Allah's apostle, we are satisfied. Then the Prophet said to them, you will find after me, others being preferred to you. Then be patient till you meet Allah and meet his apostle at Al-Kawthar, i.e. a fount in paradise. Anas added smiley face, but we did not remain patient. Volume 4, Book 53, number 376. Narrated by Jubair bin Mut'im. That while he was with Allah's apostle who was accompanied by the people on their way back from Hunain, the Bedouins started begging things of Allah's apostle so much so that they forced him to go under a samura tree where his loose outer garment was snatched away. On that, Allah's apostle stood up and said to them, return my garment to me. If I had as many camels as these trees, I would have distributed them amongst you. And you will not find me a miser or a liar or a coward. Volume 4, Book 53, number 377. Narrated by Anas bin Malik. While I was walking with the Prophet who was wearing a Najrani outer garment with a thick hem, a Bedouin came upon the Prophet and pulled his garment so violently that I could recognize the impress of the hem of the garment on his shoulder, caused by the violence of his pull. Then the Bedouin said, order for me something from Allah's fortune which you have. The Prophet turned to him and smiled, and ordered that a gift be given to him.